Hello, everybody. We're back.
Sorry about that.
I need to pay my internet bill, it seems like, I guess.
It was
but we're back. So, Charles is going to start us off.
Yeah. I was just real quickly saying that. Okay, somebody does have an echo, so if a couple of y'all don't mind muting yourselves. Okay, hopefully Rick can fill in the blanks where I'm messing this up, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Rick. But long story short, Misty Valestin was told by email that she was the new president, so she wasn't fully prepared to take on the role, but she took it on and took a bull by the horns. But I think she's finding out, but also a lot of people don't know that not only one or two people can do so. It takes a group, and it takes everybody in that group in order to do it. And so know that no matter how good her intentions are or how good everyone wants Saul to be, Saul used to have a bad reputation, and we're trying to fix that. But it takes more than just a couple people. So, Rick, what can people do to help Saul grow? That being board members, this and that, everything. This is to whoever hears this. If some people know how Saul works.
Well, the people got to get involved. Years ago, when we started Sawdust, we had articles from a lot of the members on different how they did projects, about projects they did, scrolling tips, and everything else. And nobody sends that stuff in anymore.
Yeah.
The magazine can only be as good as the information that's given to it to print. You can't expect Lee, as the editor, to make up the whole magazine. He needs the input from other people.
Yeah,
and people sit back and say, well, everybody else does it different than I do. That's not to say you're wrong.
Yeah.
You write an article on how you do it, and there may be people switch over to that because that works better than what they're doing. So the people just have to get involved, help write articles, maybe submit some patterns if they have them. But the people need to get involved. When the committees start forming and setting up to do things, people need to get a hold of the board or the committee chairman and say, hey, I would like to help on that. I've got this background in it, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. But everybody seems to want to just sit back and say, well, somebody else can do it and I'll reap the benefits. And Saw is more like everybody sharing what they know and not waiting for somebody else to inform them of new stuff.
Yeah, and it's sad in a way because this is not to slam Saw, but Saw is almost one of those things that's by us, for us. But there are still people there that say they'll do something and don't. And that's not a slam on Saw. It just takes one or two people claiming they'll do something and then not doing it. Now, Misty is not one of them. She's trying to get it done, but she can't do it alone. I know Rick's doing work. She's doing work. But if even just one or two board members, and I don't know this for a fact, it's just a hypothetical, if one or two board members don't join a meeting or they don't fulfill a task they have to help towards the growth of SAW, or, people doing the minutes for the meetings, the things like that, if anybody drops that ball, then it makes the whole organization look bad. So it does take a village, so to speak, to make SAW what it should be and what people want it to be. So please know that, and that the ones that can are, and the ones that aren't, maybe they'll be replaced. That's not a threat. I don't have any insider information. I know a lot of us want SAW to work, but it takes more than just a couple people. If I missed anything, y'all can correct me. Go on, baby.
Well, I guess the board members need to step up and do their job. I mean, we talk about the meetings and the minutes. The minutes for November and December were just posted just a few days ago or within the last week. And November's meeting was like, 7 weeks before that, and there was no minutes posted. So Misty or somebody on the board has to take the bull by the horns and say, hey, we got to keep this website updated, keep the information going out to the people as to what's going on. It doesn't do the board any good to sit back and say, we're doing this, we're doing that, we've got this done, we're going to do this next, and never tell the membership.
Yeah, and this isn't to slam the board. It's just, we're outsiders, and some of us are insiders. That we're saying, please do what you were asked to do, so that, and I don't know, there's no way to do this without sounding like we're coming down on all of SAW. We're not coming down on all of SAW. Be Happy, his first name is John, I can't recall his last. He's asking, what were the associations did you say there was? I got SAW and plan to join. Do you all do your meetings online? And I tried to post a link earlier. How did you find out which chapters there are? Go ahead, Rick.
Now, there is no meetings for SAW as far as the membership. There is a board meeting, but there is no meeting for the membership of SAW.
Yeah. On the SAW website, John, if you're still able to hear me, SAW-online.com, go click on local chapters. That will show you, or anybody listening, click on local chapters. That will show you in the third to last, or the second to last column. It'll tell you what states those are in. There's not very many chapters right now. And you asked earlier about Georgia. There is not one in Georgia, so you can be the one to start one, and Lee and Rick can tell you how to start one, and I'll throw it back to y'all.
Yeah, that's kind of the topic for tonight is starting a club, and I have a little experience with that, as I was telling you in the first part of this video. But if you guys have specific questions, you can ask it over there in the chat. But how we started was we just basically had two people that wanted us, that enjoyed scrolling, and we started with two people, and then we put out flyers in local hardware stores, and even with like the libraries and stuff like that. We just put them where people could see them, and we slowly grew. Peak of the club, its existence, we had 15 members. It's a lot lower than what we had. Have the right 4 members, because they're the ones that always show up, always want to do things, always do their job, club, and go out of their way to help the club. I'd rather have them than that don't show up and don't do their jobs and all that, and say they will but don't.
Yeah, and the same happens with any organization. One weak link and it screws it all up. And the only reason I interrupted is because John wrote, John being Be Happy, says, thanks. Have you ever thought about using live streaming to gain interest in participating in the groups? Leah's done it and I've done it. We both did live shows with the SAW president trying to gain entries, or get people joining SAW, and we got, I believe, 17 by the next day. But this is about how to start a chapter, as well as us as a group here critiquing SAW and what can, I don't want to say critiquing, but maybe it is critiquing. Go ahead. I just wanted to read that.
Yeah, we're not. I wouldn't say we're critiquing. I say we're more like encouraging SAW.
Yeah, encouraging. I think in a sense that takes critiquing, because of, like Rick was saying about, certain board members doing things and certain board members not. Sadly, it takes a cohesive unit. But yeah, I'll let you take it from there. But that we have done live streams, John, and that's, I just wanted to address that.
Saying if anyone has any specifically, like at what point when you start a club, like John wants to start a club, he said in Canada, a question about starting a club. If there's a specific when starting a club, you can always ask me or someone on the chat if they have a question. If specifically though, if you want to know if there's one in your area, you can go to the SAW website and check that out.
Yeah, click on local chapters, and it'll tell you which states and this and that have it, and it'll lead you to their website. But Lee, do you want to walk them like literally step by step? How do you start a chapter, and what do you do step 1, step 2?
Well, step 1 is you have to find people out there that are interested in. Now, one thing that I is a SAW member that's on their website, and you're a SAW member, you can actually search members by state. Let's say John's in Canada, to know if there's another SAW member near him. He just types in his area, and it'll tell him another one. And I think, if I'm wrong, but I think that lists his email there, and then you can contact them through email. So that might be one good way of saying, hey, we're interested in starting a club in the area. Would you be interested in joining up? That's kind of step one. You got to get the members. You got to keep the members, and that's the hardest part. Nothing else. The hardest part of having a club is keeping your members interested in your club and growing the club. A long time to get your club to the point where you have a lot of members. And like I said, our club went from 2 members back to 2 members to 4 members, back to 4, and they just jumped all over the place. This happens, people lose interest or don't want to be a part of it anymore for various reasons.
That or life gets in the way. I like, a job and
exactly. So basically, if you're going to start the club, we saw laid out on their website, which you can get on their website for starting a club. It has all the guidelines. It's kind of the way that they do things. It's how we did it originally. We don't really follow the same guidelines now. When we first started things, we had a president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, all that, and went all the way down the paper. Made our own bylaws the same way they did it. Do we stick to those bylaws? No, we have different ways of doing things. A lot of meetings were like basically minutes and things of that. No minutes. We just cut. We just meet, cut, and eat pizza and hang out. Because we found a lot of our members didn't like the meeting format. Formal. They want to cut. That's why they're coming to the meeting. They want to learn how to cut. They want to cut with other people.
Yeah, I think that could change. Sorry.
Speakers. Sometimes we'd have speakers come in, to teach Intarsia or to teach, and some of the members of the club, because they were really good at it, and that's how we interested in different areas in the club. So we had a guy that was doing Intarsia, so he teach the rest of Intarsia, So it kind of teaches itself. Brought other people in, and we had speakers and we did events. We hosted 2 picnics. We're going to be on our 3rd one. So those were, a while back already, but we've hosted 2 Squirrel Saw picnics already, and this will be our 3rd. Members interested too. And also your club is out there. And that brings me to a different point. One thing you got to do for your club, no matter what, is create a website or Facebook. This is the day and age where
social media,
everybody wants information now. So especially on your club, so you need to have a website or at least a Facebook page where you can say, "Hey, go check out our Facebook page, website, our website." Another part of this, you can go on there and you can picnic. We also have become a member forums on there if you guys anyone's interested in joining up. That's another point. Another point I want to make for your club: establish a website presence for your club. Even if you don't update it all the time, just something you can have out there so people know about the club. Simple to put a form on there. If you go to Wix, it's free. That's what we use for a lot of our stuff. You can do a form on there really, really easily. It does it all for you, and then you just put your email in there, and it sends you right to your email. Really, really smart when it comes to web design. It'll do it pretty much for you. You just link your email to it. It's really your club website in an evening, unless you want to get really in depth with it. Pictures up there from your club event. That's not
Jeff Robinson.
Another thing. So just make sure you have a web.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Charles.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I don't know if Jeff Robinson is still out there in the chat, but I know for a fact he's a member of dfwscrollers.net. That's their website, and that's an internet presence. They have a website for their thing. It shows, and obviously this is for only if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth area or in Texas and want to be part of that, but it's something to look at. It's dfwscrollers.net. And this is if you're thinking about starting a chapter, you could sort of use this as a template of what clubs like to you could put on a website. They have meetings tab and activity, training, minutes, links, gallery, memorials, officers, patterns, and members only. So I know DFW Scrollers, I believe, has been around for quite a while. If Jeff Robinson is in the chat out there, he could tell us how many members are in there and how well that works, what they do in their meetings, and what works and what doesn't. If he's not there, then I've said all this for nothing.
No, he's still out there somewhere.
Yeah, Ron Norris is out there.
No, I was referring to Jeff Robinson.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem.
He was referring to Jeff. Is on there. He says hello.
Howdy, Jamie. He's from across the pond. They probably don't have a chapter there. And I believe he was one of the people that joined while we did the live stream. I could be wrong. I think he did, though.
But, yeah, I mean, creating a club is a really awesome thing if you can get it to finish. It's just kind of amazing, but it's also a lot of hard work. So I would suggest if you do start a club and you want to do the president, vice president, in those positions that actually want to do those jobs. Because if you have someone in there that says, I'll do it, and then doesn't do it, club very much.
Well, that and if you just
lunch.
yeah, that and if you just appoint somebody, they may not have wanted to do it. So yeah, it's a
that's
just
why
let
we
people know if you're gonna go ahead.
Yeah, we had elections at the actual meetings, and then people got to decide who they voted for, and basically the whole club decided who was running and who wasn't running, and whoever was there at the time put their name in, and if they didn't want to put their name in, they didn't. I didn't put my name in as president; they put it in for me. So I said I'd do it if they all wanted it, but yeah, it's a lot of hard work. It's rewarding, Yeah, 2 picnics already, and that's just awesome. So
yeah, and the thing is, you were talking about how it's going to start out slow. So obviously, if you only have 3 members, you don't need to elect a president and a treasurer and all this stuff. And I'm sorry, I read something Jamie said to me in the chat. Anyway, so this comes with growth, and different things work for different groups. I mean, let's say, although it would be ideal if it was saw related, let's just say it's like-minded people want to discuss woodwork. Let's just say, for example, even if it wasn't saw related and you didn't want officers and this and that, different things are going to work for different clubs, because some of y'all may want to be formal and have the minutes, and because, for new members, they can look back on it and see what went on. Y'all can sit and just chat. But like Lee was saying, you have a teacher there. You have, y'all, the ideas are endless. It really is up to the membership. Now, if you're doing it through SAW, there are certain bylaws, and I think Rick and Lee can address what the bylaws are. If not, those might be on the SAW website, because I don't know. And John is making a good point. He said most want the association of the like interest, but don't want to take the time it takes as a board member. And that's why SAW isn't necessarily all board members. Most members are just members, but this is still, by us, for us. But yeah, it does take board members doing what they were elected to do for it to work. But this refers to SAW as an organization, as well as these individual clubs. If they want to be a SAW chapter, how they have to follow the bylaws. And Jeff Robinson just commented saying we have a meeting once a month, a carver and scrolled show in March, and we do a demo at the Fort Worth Children's Museum every year. And that's awesome, Jeff. How long have y'all been together, and how many members are a member of DFW Scrollers? And while you're answering that, I'll let Lee get back to it. What about the bylaws? Do you or Rick know what the bylaws are when it comes to chapter or anything associated with SAW?
Area expertise. I know it's for a chapter. Rick told me it's 30% membership per club. So, if I spell that out better, 30% of your membership have to be members of SAW in order to become a chapter.
Yeah.
The laws for becoming a chapter for SAW. That's the only thing that I basically know. I know Rick knows a whole lot more than that. So, Rick, if you want to unmute yourself, and if you want,
Okay, there are bylaws for SAW, and those are on the website. I think those are open to the public. I know they're open to members, but I think they're open to the public. As far as the chapter bylaws, the chapter writes their own bylaws as to what they want to do or what the rules of their chapter are going to be. But there are a few things that they have to conform to the SAW requirements for a chapter. You know, we talk about getting members and stuff. There's a lot of competition out there for stuff. It's like here in my area, we've got a Des Moines Woodworkers Club with about 400 members.
Googly moogly.
We used to have a group of scrollers in that, of which about 6 were interested. Then the woodworkers divided off, and now we have a Des Moines Woodturners Club. And we've got about 160 members in that. At an average meeting, we'll have about 100 at a woodworkers meeting and about 80 to 100 at a turner's meeting. But out of the whole time, we've only had about 6 that are interested in scroll sawing out of all that group. So it is hard to find scrollers in the area, in a lot of areas. Some areas you're blessed with a lot of scrollers, but in a lot of areas the scrollers are pretty thin because there's too many other woodworking hobbies.
Join us, start scrolling. Sorry, Rick.
But like I say, the bylaws are up to the club to write what they want for club bylaws, but SAW bylaws are definitely need to be followed.
Yeah, and that's
I wasn't able to find it on
said earlier.
I wasn't able to find it easily on the website as far as what the bylaws were. And Jeff Robinson says DFW Scrollers, which is Dallas Fort Worth, by the way, has 40 or 50 members. That's a lot of bloody members, in my opinion. Yeah, I assume all of them are scrollers. Since Al, not to make you feel like an idiot, you said how many are scrollers, but if it's called dfwscrollers.net, yeah. I'm pretty sure they're all scrollers.
Actually, after I sent out that last message, I thought about it. Yeah. And
sadly, I've been invited to there, and I'm flattered by that. I'm just my nerves have kept me from doing it, but I'm not going to say never, Jeff. Someday I will go out there because if I can help in any way, I'd like to. If not, just hanging out with like-minded people and scrollers. I mean, it doesn't have to be about me by any means, but I will take you up on that someday, I swear. And John is saying scrollers have to concentrate more on the work, and it's not as forgiving as turning and building where a wrong cut doesn't ruin a whole piece. Yeah. I think I read that right.
I think I understand what he's saying. Yeah, you're concentrating on what's in front of you, and if somebody hits you in the back of the back, with a 2x4, that could mess up your whole scroll job.
Yeah, and it will totally distract you. I mean, my wife hits me all the time. I'm kidding.
Well, no, I understand that. I
Well, Dave Hart is a member of Tri-County Scrollers in Pennsylvania. He has about 12 to 15 members. That's a good little number. I mean, it's a comfortable number. The another thing about scrolling is a lot of people don't know is that it's one of the few child-friendly tools out there. I mean, there are others, but it's almost impossible to hurt yourself scroll sawing. So and I know this ties into another thing. I don't know if it's still going or if it is something that was tried and never came to fruition, but I know Rick had a lot to do with it's called ACEs. I can't remember what that stands for, but it's geared toward getting youth. That's hard to say. Youth, kids into scroll sawing.
I mean, youths.
I mean, maybe Rick can tell us more about ACEs. I think it's specific to saw, but it's still getting children involved that way, because the more kids we can get involved in scrolling, the less chance of that hobby dying. But whether if you so choose to speak about it, Rick, you're more than welcome to. It's totally up to you.
ACES was a program that the board talked about for a couple of years and never got off the ground, and so I took over and made it. And what I basically tried to do was come up with a 20-minute video that you get called and the Senior Citizens Club or the Boy Scouts or the junior high shop class wants you to put on a program. By the time you go introduce yourself, play the video, and answer questions at the end, you've done a half-hour talk about scrolling. And it doesn't really teach you how to scroll. It shows you the basics of how to scroll and some of the things that you need to do and how stuff is done to try to pique that interest. And then from that video, the group that you're presenting to, the idea is then you say, okay, we are going to have a second class or seminar that will go into more detail. And then that's where you start getting the ones that really want to do it. The ones just there and because it's the senior citizens meeting and you're there giving it and 75% of them don't care. You only want that 25% that you're going to carry on and do more stuff with and start teaching them what's going on.
Yeah, and John brought up a good point. He said kids are now into more of an instant gratification like they get from gaming. And a lot of this generation is like that. But I think, like, you know, the what is it called? The law of odds or something like that. You're going to get some kids, especially if they like what one of their parents is doing. When they see how easy it is and that it's not a scary tool, I think there are some kids that would, potentially the younger the better, because teenagers, yes, may be more into gaming. I don't know. But I think if they see how easy it can be, then that might be how you can attract it. So basically what you're saying, Aces, is it gets their foot in the door on scroll sawing and the rest of it's up to everybody else to teach and guide, right?
Right. It was set up to be a video for doing a seminar or a talk to a group to get them interested in scrolling. Go to your Boy Scouts, go to your Cub Scout groups, go to your Girl Scout groups. A lot of your senior citizens homes have wood shops in them. You know, go to those groups. Just a lot of ways for the average person said, well, I don't know what to say. You know, I wouldn't know how to put on a program or talk to them about scrolling. This was to give them something to get their started. A 20-minute video for a half-hour show, you got 10 minutes to fill in. You know, it's not that hard.
Yeah, and going off of that, if anybody listening has that same mindset, saying, I wouldn't know how to teach this, I wouldn't know how to teach that. I don't know how well I teach on YouTube, how to make patterns and do certain cuttings, but I never saw myself as much of a teacher. But in my opinion, when it comes to teaching, let's say scrolling, the best way to teach is to show and tell them every thought you're having while you're doing it, what to do, what not to do. I know that's sort of going off the tracks of what teaching is, but like you said, the video itself does the majority of the introduction, and the rest of it, I think people would just play by ear and by interest. And I'm totally sorry I'm doing it again. Lee, take over.
Take over, Charles. It's fine.
It's a bad habit of mine. I'm so sorry.
Not real brief, because I started scrolling when I was probably about 11 or 12 at a shop, and so it's always good to get early if they want to do it, because something that they taking time. So if you would have told me as a kid at 10 or 11 that I would have I probably would have been like, what's a scroller? And that club,
your audio is going to crap again.
I don't know why, but that's something our club tries to do time to time. We've tried to work with the Boy Scouts and Indian guides and Indian princesses and all that. We've tried to do that. Not that they're kids, but I'm just throwing that out there while I'm thinking of. But yeah, it was when we were at the tool sales, when we did Hardwood tool sales. Just jump on and saw, and some got it right away. So, it was funny. Some of them did better than their parents. So
yeah. I have actually found.
Really trying.
I've actually found, and this doesn't really have much to do with kids, but I've found most people that are into sewing, which I'm not. But if you've used a sewing machine, I've found women that do a lot of sewing or have done any that are remotely decent at it are pretty good at scrolling because they're used to having to keep their hands in a certain spot and being steady and following a line. So there's actually a little bit of a connection there. And I think that's why, wait, this is going to sound sexist. I'm trying to think of how to word it. There are a lot of women scrollers out there. I'm not saying it's because women know how to sew, but I think if you happen to have a background in sewing or are remotely good at it, it helps you. And I'm not saying that's why there's women scrollers, because I should have never brought that up. I just noticed my wife was good at sewing.
No wonder I stink at sewing. My patterns just come out all messed up. And I'm just trying to break the tension there, Charles.
Yeah, I introduced it wrong. I mainly meant, I'm in trouble. Sorry, ladies. And
Charles is looking for that spiral needle to sew with.
Yeah, John is saying that that's the hand-eye coordination working, and he's right. And I should have just used the example I had. My wife has tried scrolling. She doesn't have the passion for it, but I noticed she had a very steady hand, and a lot of beginners will, especially the spiral, will have the little wiggly lines, but hers were a little bit reduced because she had done sewing. So I made that connection then. It's that hand-eye coordination, and they're just used to that mindset. So I didn't mean to imply that only people that sew can do this, and I didn't mean to all women sew, and that's why women are scrollers. That's not what I meant. But yeah, that was the example I should have used. Back to y'all before I totally screwed up.
Charles, that's a great point you make. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Segue.
Segue. Okay, I'll just read the chat. John said quilters would be a great group to work with. The
don't read that. Keep going.
When I sew, it always comes out in a puzzle pattern. JP says, I never tried scrolling into fabric. Me neither. But you can if you do it between two pieces of wood. Go ahead, Lee. I've already said those.
JP, I think that was a challenge for you, my friend. Try scrolling into fabric, and the way to do it is to take and sandwich it in two pieces of wood.
Yep, we do the same thing with paper. Paper, very, very, very thin metal, sheet metal.
Yeah, JP, scroll the queen in fabric.
Yeah. And Jeff Robinson saying another good thing about their club, which is DFW Scrollers, is that they have a scroller library with patterns. Purchased patterns, I hope. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Actually, I'm wondering, Jeff, did I ever send you guys a copy of the magazine for your I was going to, and if I didn't, let me know and I can send one up to you.
I'm going to interrupt a second. JP Woodwork has accepted my challenge for taking and scrolling fabric. I guess we're going a little bit off topic, but still scrolling, guys, right?
Well, yeah, but he says he's already started the queen, but I don't think he started it on fabric.
Well, I see the challenge accepted as I've accepted the challenge to do the fabric. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't even mind trying, JP. And I'm sorry, I'm taking over here myself. I'm doing it, Charles.
Well, John is saying that JP and Charles should have a quilt off using sewing machines, and we'll get a pool going on the winter. And I'm going to give that one to Jamie because I ain't touching her sewing machine.
I have actually strawed fabric and put like 1/4 of an inch of layers of fabric in between two pieces of Baltic birch and cut it out.
Yep.
And I made like gingerbread men and stuff like that they use to glue on for the craft stuff. Glued it on to different other projects.
Or for quilting.
And actually the scroll saw cutting fabric will cut a line on that fabric just about as nice as scissors will.
Wow.
Yeah, because if you're sandwiching it, it can't flex. Go ahead. Sorry, Rick.
Yeah, and where you're doing like a 1/4 inch stack, you've got like 20 patterns of the same thing all cut at once. So it's really quick for cutting out, stars, gingerbread men, hearts, whatever they want. And you can cut them out of lightweight material, and I've cut them out of tent canvas.
Well, I learned
And
totally. That's awesome.
Jamie says, I'm up for a quilt off. My mom is a seamstress for a living. Uh-oh. She taught me loads of years ago. Yeah, you go ahead and do that thing, Jamie. I'm not getting in that one. I am totally not touching it. So, and I'm not saying it's a woman's only thing. I can't see me sitting at a sewing machine. You know, never say never, but definitely not doing a challenge, especially since Jamie's mother is a seamstress. Yeah.
I think it has to do with interests, and I'm not saying that women aren't interested in scrolling, but I think more of them are more interested in sewing. For instance, my wife does embroidery, and you guys saw the little outfit and stuff.
Yeah.
Ain't no way I'm gonna do that, you know. But I'll make it out of wood, you know, or attempt to make it out of wood.
Well, I feel safe assuming, and I think all of y'all can back me up, I do think scrolling is one of the things that is quite female strong. I mean, there's a lot of women that scroll. Do you know of any other woodworking or making arena that has a lot of women in it?
Making arenas?
In other words, different versions of making. I don't know how to word it because I suck at that.
I can't remember their names, but I remember her name is Michelle. She was doing making. She was on one of the shows in the past. In fact, I saw her and somebody else with her. I can't remember the person's name, but making, you know, out there.
Well, in other words,
there's a lot of.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more female turners. There's Holly Denny. There's I can't think of it. Donna Presley has done some turning.
Oh yeah, and scroll sawing too, for that matter. Beautiful scroll sawing.
Yeah, that was my point. Was that I think of all the things you can do with wood, I found, maybe I'm biased, is that a lot of women are into scroll sawing. It's not because that's all they can do. It's just I think a lot of them like it. But that's why I was asking if y'all knew of any other kind of woodworking that women are into. And this isn't to say women can't do other things. It's just I'm trying to dig myself out of a hole I didn't even mean to create. I think there's a lot of women in scrolling. That's really my only point. I made it much worse than it is.
No, that's
this up here now. The views of Charles Darrell.
Make sure your heart is healthy enough to listen to what Charles has to say.
At least you're not blaming me.
Yeah, there's a lot of women carvers and chainsaw carving. I did not know. I should have never brought up the women because it sounds well. You know, there is a mature way to bring up women, because at least for a while there, you didn't see a lot of women in woodworking in general, and that's growing daily. I know we all know that for a fact, and that's a compliment, not a dig. Some of them are quite big names now.
So I've got a question.
A lot of them.
So
carvers.
To start a club, and notice how I'm going to kind of go off back to the topic and I'm usually the one that goes the other way. So to start a club, how many people do you need in a club? And then to start a chapter, how many people do you need in a chapter? I remember percentages and stuff, but let's say it's me, just me. I want to start a club. Okay, it's the whatever Scrollers in Odessa club. Okay, I get another person, or don't get another person. What if I wanted to start a chapter? Would I
I'm
have
sure
to?
Saw would want.
Pardon me?
I said I'm sure Saw would want more than one person in the club, but
but this is West Texas. There's only 100,000 people.
30% of the club has to have membership in order to become a chapter. So,
although you being the only member would mean 100% of the membership was in there. You know what I mean? It has to have a group. Let's say you have 10 people. At least 3 of them have to be SAW members. So I get what your point is in a joking way, Al. But yeah, according to their what's the word?
The
terms. You have to have bylaws or terms or whatever. At least 30% have to be SAW members. But I don't think it'd be too hard to get. Maybe, well, I say that. I live in a humongous Texas, but if I was to start one, I don't know a single other scroller other than Jeff that lives in Texas. I don't think.
I don't know anyone in Odessa. I know Turner's.
But Dallas Fort Worth Scroller has, what they say, 60 members.
40, 50 members, yeah. So I mean, I just need to get off my butt and go.
There's more in Texas than just you then, Charlie.
Dag nabbit. You're right. I didn't think that one through. I meant in my area. But yeah, I need to just get involved in the DFW thing and stop trying to do my own thing because I'm not doing too well with that. Okay, so we've established, Lee, that you first of all have to get the interest. You have to establish an internet presence to get the word out there. I mean, or do we have any more, steps as far as what SAW says has to be done for it to be a SAW club besides 30%?
Yeah, you need to have. I'm pretty sure you need to have your bylaws that you write.
I thought it had to be.
If I'm wrong, Rick.
I thought it had to be SAW's bylaws, or does each club come up with their own?
What they do is they give you a thing on there that's basically a jumping on point. Just this is the bylaws. Then you change it to how you want it for your club. Is establish those bylaws, and then once you go to become a club, I think you have to send those bylaws to SAW, and they review them. Your application of your becoming a chapter. I'm pretty sure that's what when you had to do. It's been a while since we did it because we're something like that now. So it's been a while, but I'm pretty sure we had to establish the bylaws, send the bylaws to SAW along with our chat. Well, the other thing is you need to send them your roster. Members of on your roster are SAW members, 30%, and those are the two. Goes back to them, and then it's $75 for the year. Rick, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's $75 for the year. So you have to send in $75 for the whole year.
And this for the whole club or per member?
That's for the whole club.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and that includes your. See, the reason that's so high is that includes insurance for your club. So that if you're doing something and
cut your finger off.
So the insurance that's a pretty big thing. I would think. I mean, especially if like you're saying, somebody cuts their finger off or hurts themselves, or I mean, that's a good selling point.
Which is hard to do, but it does happen. I mean,
yeah, the value of it though is what I'm trying to bring out. For $75, I can't get insurance per year, with possibly those whatever the liabilities are.
A lot of that insurance came from the fact that your club wanted to meet at the church, and the church required that your club have insurance before you could meet there.
Right.
And that makes sense.
They made it community centers and, that sort of thing, or at a school, and they all require insurance before any club can meet there.
Awesome.
And that insurance covers that.
And Jeff Robinson, I need you to get your 40 or 50 members to buy a Scroll On t-shirt. It doesn't have to be the one with a picture of me, but I have one that says Scroll On in text. I'm wearing
shameless commercialization.
Very shameless plug, but I need to go get involved with them anyway, but that'd be cool if they all bought a t-shirt.
All promotion.
That's a lot of t-shirts. Anyway, back to topic. So, does anybody out there have any questions regarding SAW or clubs or whatever Lee wants to talk about? Because it's not my show.
Well, I'm just looking over at the chat right now. Insurance is an advantage at one of our events. Then B said selfish promotion. The internet.
Yep. Sorry.
Well, before if you guys want to keep going, we can. But there's still 10 people watching. I was going to show you guys really quick. I think I've shared in a few of the other websites, but I want to share with you guys a couple of the other shows that I did. But I found a website here. It's called AdvantageLumber.com. Here to their website, they have a free sample. Top right hand side of the page, it says free sample at the top corner. This is the screen, and it's kind of up here on the page. Look up there, and then with your information, and then it sends you free samples of wood. This is an example. Excuse me for just a second. Ordered from them a few times wood, but in the mail. I know this one's kind of thick, but I'm going to try to make a cross out of this. But this is Brazilian koa, so it's a tiger wood. They call it tiger wood, and it's actually for decking, but you can plane it down and make it whatever thickness you want. This one here is a Brazilian walnut. Samples they send you on their you know what wood you're interested in, but they'll actually send you just whatever they choose a couple of times to get one, and specifically unless you buy it, but they'll send you a packet of various woods. This here is Brazilian teak, so you can see. But what I did is I don't have a planer, but my dad does. So at Christmas, ones over there that I ordered, he planed them down for me on the planer. You can see these are, and then I'll show you guys what tiger wood looks like. Right, the tiger wood when it's planed down. So it's a little thinner than when it came as a square. So came to me, but they have all sorts of different woods. They also do pen blanks, turning blanks. So those are options too that you guys can order from them. They have woods, so you guys want to check out their exotic woods. Although they're a decking company, they do hardwoods too, so you can order them in whatever thickness or length you want. But for their free samples, whatever they choose to send you. But if you order a couple of times, eventually they'll send you the wood you want. It's just kind of random because it's a sample. And there's no shipping charge either. So make sure you guys check them out. My wood from, and I think John ordered from them, sample from them, and he got his already. So just make sure you guys check them out, because that's what I found for free wood. And as you guys can see, I made ornaments out of these for Christmas. So I lost Charles because I saw him fall out.
I'm not saying anything. You'll kick me out, right?
No, I won't kick you guys out. I think he just dropped off. He'll hang out for a minute and see if he comes back. But
I'll send him the link if he doesn't have it, just in case.
Let's see if there's any questions over there in the chat. She has 50 miles woods for 50 miles in any direction from her. On trees plus mountains, small doesn't hurt. Yeah, that probably helps. Exotic woods are the problem getting for me, but I also get some from the barter site at the cost of postage. Yeah, that's an option too, trying to get them on barter.
And Charles, I sent you the link on Facebook.
I didn't
hear you. No.
I sent the link.
own sawmill.
Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on. Are there any questions over in the chat? Or if you guys have any ideas for future episodes, topics you want to see, that's always good too. So anything like that you guys want to put over there in the chat, we'll take a look for that matter. But anything scroll saw related. Charles, the panel numbers. And the last one on there was Al saying, I sent you the link, Charles. All right. Well, let's see what else. I don't know if Charles is coming back or not. He may have just. But how about the difficulty of cutting different woods? Okay, we can talk about that for a minute. That would basically be hardwoods versus softwoods. A thicker hardwood would be tougher to cut. Softwoods would be easier to cut. But I'm going to let Rick start us off on that one. So, Rick, if you have anything to say on that one, like the different, what is how about the difficulty of cutting different woods?
Well, all the woods cut pretty good. I guess when you get into some of the exotics, you can get into troubles. And there, it's just a matter of changing blades and finding the right blade to work. Some of the exotic hardwoods, the precision ground blades work better. You get into like cherry, and you always see a burn on that. Cover it with packing tape, and you'll eliminate the burning with the blade. Thickness of the wood will make a difference, and the species of the wood. Even finishing, you know, some of the woods have got so many oils in them that you need to wipe them down with acetone before you can get your finish to go into them because the oil in the wood is so heavy. But there's, well, you talk about what wood for scrolling. There's just too many to choose from. Basically, I use all native hardwoods to Iowa, which leaves me a pretty good selection of cherry, oak, walnut, cedar, you know, maple, soft maple, hard maple. And we've got kind of an assortment of all kinds of trees here. Walnut is usually pretty easy to get here because I live in a small town, and back years ago, everybody had a walnut tree in the backyard, and now the new people don't want to pick up all the walnuts, so everybody wants them cut down. So walnut's fairly easy to come up with. But it's, you know, you pick your woods and how much you want to spend for your woods. You know, the native hardwoods here we can get at a pretty reasonable price. You start buying some of the hardwoods, and you can go up to, you know, $20 a board foot on the stuff, where you could buy hard maple or oak, you know, even at Home Depot for $6-8 a square foot. So it's kind of what you want to spend, and then a lot of times to get the exotics, your only choice is going to be to order them online from like Okuch or something, especially if you're looking for thinner stuff. And then a lot of those companies only sell 3/4 inch or thicker wood, so you need to resaw and then have a planer to plane them down and sand it and everything else. So it depends on how much work you want to go into. But pretty much all the woods are cuttable on a scroll saw. You just may have to change over to just some different blades for each wood. That covers it.
All right. John, you got that one? Okay. Was asked he said, how do you keep club members interested in coming back to meetings, but folks already know what to do to know what. Okay, so I guess he's saying it's ready, and they already know that, so they don't always come to those demonstrations. And that we found to keep club members coming back is doing a club raffle. Getting door prizes donated by various things inside or different organizations or companies inside the community can donate stuff from blades to patterns, books, stuff like that. Happy to give them to clubs.
Yeah, gift certificates.
Try that and do a raffle.
You know,
that's what we would do.
I can definitely attest to that. When I was at the computer club meeting, and I'll make it short, they decided, and they advertised this several times, they decided to give away letter quality printers. Now, at the end, some people were mad. Some people thought it was a great ploy, maybe a joke, whatever. But they were going to give out letter quality printers. Mind you, this was back in the 80s when letter quality printers were something nice to have. Well, when they got to the meeting and they gave the prize away, they gave letter quality printers. They gave these away. And like I said, some people were happy, but printing, but my point is the place filled up with people coming to the meeting just because of the possible prize that they might get. So I agree with that.
Yeah, we always tried to have prizes for our guys. One thing we would do is join the club. Sometimes we would have extra copies of Scrollers, Scroll Saw Woodworking and Arts magazine or Creative for a picnic, and we'd have extra copies. So when a new member joined the club, we would always give them a copy of the magazines, as well as right off the start, when they came to their first meeting, they already had both magazines and a pattern. Start cut. And sometimes we would even have blades, so we would donate blades to them. You know, so as soon as they came, they'd have a new thing of blades, or 2 magazines and a pattern the first day they came. So, you know, if you can have people, it takes a little bit of calling around to different. I think you'll find a lot of places will donate to you. Let's see. We do a monthly project theme, a brag table, 50-50 picnic, and a holiday party. There's 2 holiday parties. Those are keep members coming back. Parties are always fun. Do holiday parties with our club because we don't meet in the winter time too much. It's pretty busy around the holidays. We meet in the winter, we just don't meet at the holidays because everyone. So we don't have holiday party per se. Our holiday party is we just get in about a week. And we usually don't meet till after New Year's. That way, I'll look today. So we'll be. They're already in the middle of the year. I don't know. Do demos and okay, and he said, and harass Charles to come. Harassing Charles to come. Yeah, that's fun. Even have done hunting season gun raffle to help support clubs. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things you guys can do to rules and things of that nature to get your members. Guys, field trips, local hardware. We do like ours. Our local one is Hartville Hardware. Chicker Creek would be Kime Lumber, so we can go there. And sometimes we'd go as a club, do lunch while we were there. So that would be kind of like a club function for the day. We'd have lunch and then go to the lumber department. So that's another idea for you guys. Also, it's creative I do with your club. You'll find out. So, ours is not coming. Because he would be back by now. Here. If you get any final questions for me, hang on 1 second. So I have to move this. Okay. It's for Al or for Rick, because we lost John. Thank you, John, for being on. Thank you for being on. Charles, you guys have any questions for Al or me or John? Yeah, I don't know why it's starting to cut out. It goes in and out. Yeah, I know. I'm breaking up. They're saying that over there. Since I'm breaking up, I want to just tell you guys thank you very much for watching tonight with us as we had to restart this program twice. This is actually part 2 of the thing, so make sure you guys watch part 1 as well. So if you guys have any questions over there, leave them up. Thank you for watching. Again, any club is interested in coming up to the Ohio picnic, and I can reserve you guys a spot for your club table. Club tables are free, so just let me know if you guys are coming as a club. I will see you guys on the next episode. Hang on, we got one more question over here. Okay. All right. So, Rick Hutchinson, thank you for tonight, and Mr. Al Forte, as of course. Thank you tonight as well. And as you can see, he's giving you a live long and so
Indeed.
yes.